You still there? Please get to 2846 as soon as possible. I was attacked. There's a... Oh, I gotta catch my breath. We've had arguments with a guy, and he said he didn't want to whip my ass over some, I know, stuff I posted on Facebook, and he showed up, and I was at my neighbor's house, and he's yelling and screaming for me, and so I came out and came around the corner, and then he drove back and we started fighting, and then like 5 or 6 guys jumped out of his car and rushed us, so I went in the house, and then like the girls started going outside, and the neighbors came around, and oh, I'm out of breath. So, yeah, somebody got shot. They attacked us. Then we pushed them outside, and we told them to get lost. And then one of the guys like, "Fuck you," blah blah blah. He comes back to attack me and kick me. And I had some of it on videotape. I don't know. It's one of the guys with Kevin Eardley. But he attacked me. I did. And so they left the house and they came back and started attacking me again in the driveway. Then I ran in the house. Then they all ran back in the house and started like hitting my girlfriend and hitting the next door neighbor lady. I went in the back room to get the shotgun, and the guy saw it and like opened the door and attacked me and hit me a couple more times, and I almost lost the shotgun. And then I kicked him back so I could have some room. And when he came back at me, Joe Hoskins. Hoskins, Hoskins. 2846 Unaweep, please get here. It's been forever. Yes, yes.
You and Joe have a history.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to know a lot more about that.
Okay.
What's our issue here?
Recently, about 3 or 4 days ago, he had posted a bunch of negative things on Facebook, as ridiculous as this sounds. Kevin gets caught cheating on one of a guy that we all know with his girlfriend.
This guy?
Tyler.
Okay.
Tyler, great guy. Great
Tyler
guy.
posts this on Facebook because he's mad because Kevin slept with his girlfriend.
Yep. I had another friend's girlfriend that I was seeing.
Okay.
And that became public. So he had posted a bunch of negative things about that. So I'm at the ale house tonight. Me, Tiffany, and Randy, all 3 of us.
And what time did you guys get there?
We left the house at 8 o'clock, so we would have been there maybe 8:20 to 8:30. So I hear that Joe's up at Lynn's party.
I think they texted Kevin and told him that Joe was up there. And I think that's why they came up there. I don't think they would have ever came.
Did you tell Kevin that Joe was there, knowing that they kind of have an issue?
I did. Yeah, I told Kevin that Joe was there.
He's here.
Yep.
Okay.
And for the reason of come and confront him, or he's here, there's going to be problems, whatever. I don't know why, but yeah, I told him that Joe was there.
Lynn got a phone call from Kevin saying that they were on their way up and to keep Joe there. And so me and Lynn told Joe, hey, Kevin sounds like he's not in a real good mood and he's headed this way. We just wanted to let you know. And Joe said, okay, well, thank you very much for having me, but I don't want to be in this situation. It's just, this is not a good thing. We're going to go ahead and leave. Have a happy new year. And he had told us earlier that when he was coming by that they had a couple of places that they were going to go. So they left. About 15 minutes or so later, Kevin and Randy and Tiffany showed up, and Kevin was livid. He was upset that we had let Joe leave, and had wanted me to tell him Joe's address because he knew I knew where he lived, and I wouldn't do that. And we finally just told him, Kevin, you need to calm down. This is New Year's. If you'd like to come inside and have a couple drinks, I'll make you a drink. But this is like, a fun thing. Get it together.
And that's when Kevin was like, hey man, give me Joe's number. And Jen's like, no, I'm not going to do that, And he goes, come on, man, give me his number. And she says, no. And, after a few times, he, expires on that. So he asks Randy, hey, pull him up on Facebook. Because Kevin doesn't have Facebook on his phone, the app or whatever. And so he has Randy pull it up.
That led to this series of communications between Eardley, and ironically, Eardley was using Randy Cook's smartphone and communicating through Randy Cook's Facebook account with Mr. Hoskins. Hey, you piece of shit, it's Kevin. Where are you? You know where I live, nigga. You think I'm gonna hang out in a room full of your homies where I don't know anyone? I ain't that stupid. You piece of shit, I will involve no one. You name the place, I will be there. Again, you know where I live, Captain. That's Hoskins responding, but not giving him the address. Eardley, address? Question mark from Eardley. Hoskins says, I gave it to your midget buddy, presumably Vic Brizzalara, the other friend of Eardley's who was present at that party. It goes on. Address, fucker. Ask Mark Branson.
Kevin had told, I don't know if it was Randy or Tiffany, to call Mark Branson, who is the bartender at Fantasy for Kevin, but he's also Joe's old roommate and friend.
Now I come alone, said Eardley. Mark Branson not talking to you? Talk shit, I will close your fucking mouth, says Eardley. Give me your address, why you being a pussy, says Eardley. I'll be right there, says Eardley. And finally, Hoskins sends the address, 2846 Unaweep.
Then midnight rolls around, and I just know it was midnight because we were letting off fireworks. And then all of a sudden, Kevin gets all uppity and jumps in his vehicle. And Tiffany was, I think, stressed out because she had been the driver and didn't know why he was, in such a hurry to get in all of a sudden. And so she jumps in the car with him, and then Randy gets in. Well, then Vic got in as well, and then Becky got in because Vic was leaving. And it it just had to have been a few minutes after midnight because we were still letting fireworks off. They kind of tore out of there.
Okay, who else was in the car with you?
Tiffany, Vic, Randy.
Okay.
And I don't know anybody else for sure.
Well, she had just said to me that Charles Pruitt and someone named Todd were there at Joe's.
Because I know Pruitt is a friend of the Cook family.
Right, I know
You're
that.
aware of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
She had just said that Charles Pruitt and some Todd guy or some other, I think she said Todd, I don't know, but that they were there at Joe's house. She made it sound like they were there involved with stuff. I know her ex-husband's name is Todd. That's just, she mentioned Charles Pruitt and Todd. So I guess it could be, but I do not know.
And we know that Mr. Eardley, accompanied by his friends, Randy Cook and Vic Brizzalara, and their girlfriends, showed up within minutes. And we know it was right after midnight because there's an impartial neighbor who really doesn't have allegiance to one side or another, who's probably the most dependable eyewitness. She was outside watching the fireworks that went off at midnight with Mr. Hoskins when Eardley pulls up in his Escalade.
And me and Merle were outside, and Joe had come over, and he's like, hey, Happy New Year, and I said, hey, Happy New Year, and then all of a sudden this vehicle pulls up, not in the driveway, but in the street, and this guy yells out, where's Joe Hoskins live? Actually, he said, live.
Okay.
And I was like, not here, next door. And they pulled up next door. They didn't pull in the driveway, they just pulled up in the street.
Was Joe standing with you when you said that?
Yes.
Okay.
And they got out of the car and they went, and I can't tell you exactly how many people got out of the car, because I just can't tell you. And the one guy went up there and started yelling and bitching and Raquel, which was the young lady, the blonde. Not the tall with the skirt or the one that was helping the guy. She was in there. So Joe right away just took off running over there because he knew that they were mad or whatever because of the way they had said what they'd said. So I took off right after Joe and followed him. And Merle followed me. And by the time me and Merle got around the corner, it was a fist fight.
And then all of a sudden you're now moving the car from the street into the driveway. There's a confrontation happening in front of the house.
I walk up to the driveway. Joe's girlfriend, her name is Raquel Clark, opens the door.
To the side.
To the side.
Okay.
Raquel comes out.
Okay.
And I'm walking up. Joe comes apparently from around the front. He must have went out the front door, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Comes from around the front.
Okay.
Joe and I start fighting.
Yeah, so what's the conversation between you guys?
There was no conversation. He comes up and he starts swinging on me, and there was no conversation. So we start fighting, and we were fighting. I don't think either one of us actually got a hit on each other. Joe came out.
Sure, he came outside. Sure.
Right, and started swinging. He never seen anybody else in the car. It wasn't until Joe and I started fighting, and then Vic and Randy came out of the car.
But you said it out by here, you didn't think any big blows. I mean, are you injured?
No.
I see your hands. I'd like to take pictures of that if that's okay.
Neither one of us are injured.
Okay.
That I'm aware. No, neither one of us are injured.
I mean, they threw these punches the first time. Joe slips, you say, or somebody else. Joe slips, right? Yep. They're on the ground.
Well, no, they're not on the ground. Just Joe is, because he slipped, yeah.
Joe goes up to the porch where Raquel is, his girlfriend.
At some point, I don't know when, Joe must have got up and he grabs a gun, a pistol. And so he shows up and he starts waving a handgun around. And then what? That's when I kind of backed out. That's when I kind of started heading towards the street.
When did you see the gun?
Well, that I saw before it even got into the house. You know, like when they were scuffling around or whatever right here. All of a sudden, like I said, I don't know when the pistol came out, but a pistol came out. And then that's when I kind of backed off. And then when it went, what's that?
Who had the pistol?
Joe.
Joe had the pistol.
Yeah.
And the whole time, when Randy and Vic both got out of the car, I was hollering at both of them to go back into the car. I'm angry. I'm telling him to come back out. I'm not going to go to his house.
Oh, you called me a crazy guy.
Seems odd to me to go walking into the house with a pistol being drawn, but for some reason I must have known that the pistol was taken away, put down, whatever it was.
How many other people?
There were 3 other guys,
Okay.
I think. Or maybe 2. I don't know.
Okay.
I just know one of them
About
was
2 to
on
3.
Okay, 2 to 3. Maneuvering, you know.
Pushing both away, really.
Well, no, I was pushing
Okay.
him away. Joe was standing in his house right there telling them to leave too.
Okay.
So Joe comes behind Raquel.
Okay.
I'm standing at this point right here.
Okay.
And I'm hollering at Joe to come back out. I'm not going to go in his house. I know I can't go in his house. I know that.
So Randy's there.
So I'm hollering at Joe. Randy comes up And Randy's had a bad day. He broke up with his girlfriend this morning. He's not in a good place.
But they kept arguing, and Kevin was still downstairs, and I put my hands because Kevin kept trying to come up at Joe, and I was like, no, dude, you need to leave. This is New Year's, you need to leave. And he wouldn't leave, and he just kept cussing and saying all kinds of bad things towards Joe.
And what's Joe saying? I mean, he's probably not just sitting there taking it.
No, Joe's like, dude, leave, and he would not leave.
Okay. You said you're in between them.
Yeah.
And the guys are coming out of the car, and then what happens?
That's when Randy and the other guys came up, and they went after Joe. Next thing you know, everybody's going at it, and it came into Joe's house. Okay, they pushed their way into Joe's house.
You guys go. 911 is here with the address of your emergency. Hello? 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 You came here on here. So, let's go. Really? Hello? Bring it,
Kevin, when Joe goes into the house, why would Kevin follow him into the house to fight him? Why would he do that?
I don't know. I can't answer for Kevin. I would
Why
say
would you
caught
follow him into the house?
I guess just caught up in the scene, just watching it.
How do Vic and Randy end up inside the house if Kevin and Joe are the ones fighting and heading into the house?
They were just behind the whole situation the whole time.
I ran
Where
out.
was Randy when all this was going on?
He was inside the house.
Did he go in before you did when the scuffle moved in?
I'd say the same time, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so now Kevin and Joe are fighting. Now they're fighting inside of the house. And I go step inside the door, and then maybe somebody jumps on or gets involved or whatever. And that's when I was like, come on, man, what the fuck, man? Let's just go, man. This. I do remember telling Kevin, hey dude, man, you popped them a couple times. Let's go. Let's get the fuck out of here, man. This is too much.
4 or 5 in here, inside the house that were jumping on the pile?
At one point, yeah, I mean, because it was Kevin and Joe for a while, and then yeah, I mean, later on.
Was Randy in that pile of people?
He might have been yanking people off. Just, saying the same thing, saying, let's get the hell out of here.
Please. Raquel!
This is who you're with.
Fighting in my house. Nigga grabbed my gun.
Please stop. Raquel, look at me. Look at me. Come here. Joe.
Close my door, faggot.
Joe.
Randy, where you going?
Joe.
Grab my gun in my house, dog.
You see Randy Cook turn around and start to confront Mr. Mr. Hoskins. And at that point, Mr. Hoskins, I think, slips on these front steps. I should probably... This is the best angle, because he's on these steps. He's calling out to Randy Cook.
And somehow another fight broke out, and we all ended up in the house, including me. And then the other two guys got into it with him, and I tried to pull him away. Stupidly me. I got a little messed up, but not too bad. I got a drink thrown on me. And
More punching, fighting, and the whole melee blows back into the front door of the house.
Please stop. Raquel, look at me. Look at me. Come here. Joe.
Close my door, faggot.
Joe.
Randy, where you going?
Joe.
Grab my gun in my house, dog. Swinging at me.
Come on, fucker. No,
What are you coming at me? Motherfucker. I'll fucking fuck you.
Stop. 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 Come on, bitch. Stop. Stop. Oh, what the fuck? Okay, you know what? I'm done. Hello?
Some people were trying to close the door and people were pushing their way in, or what was it? Who was actually trying to close that door?
I think Joe was trying to close the door, and Raquel and me, but I was still telling them to leave, and then by that time it didn't matter because everybody pushed their way into the house.
They wind up in the house, and those two are fighting. I go in after Randy. Joe and I wind up fighting. I don't know where Randy is. Raquel comes out with a gun and points it at me.
All go at the same time? Did one go and then another go and then another go? How did that work?
It was two at once.
Okay.
And then the third one came up, and then they all pushed, like I said, their way into the house.
Okay.
Three on, or I would say me, Joe, and Raquel, and then all of them, just busted open the door and came in, and that was it,
Okay.
So I go in there, I run in there to get Randy, because I know if we're fighting inside Joe's house, we can't be doing that. We wind up in here. Joe and I start wrestling around in this area.
Okay.
And I don't know where Randy's at this time. I don't know where he's at. We're wrestling here. The next thing I see is Raquel with a gun in her hand.
Where's Raquel at?
She's probably right here.
Okay.
Roughly here. So we're wrestling right here.
Put her name there, please. Thanks. Just helps me.
Okay.
And you guys are wrestling in
roughly this area.
This circle. I'm gonna make a big
like
circle.
right in front of the kitchen door, in front of the hallway.
And Raquel has a gun. What kind of gun?
It was a big caliber gun, and it was silver. I ran out when I seen the gun.
Mm-hmm.
Then I heard a gunshot.
And they're all going after Joe, and I got the one guy, and he pushes me down. I can't tell you if he pushed me down or if he was just trying to knock me down, but instead of him, I had a hold of him. And because, there was like a few of them on one, and I wasn't, I was trying to, I don't know what I was trying to do.
Is it the blonde guy or one of the other guys?
No, it wasn't the blonde guy. It was
one of the other guys, okay. And then the blonde-haired girl in the skirt comes over and tells you you're too old to fight. Okay.
And just to let it go, because it's just one-on-one, and it wasn't one-on-one, and...
Okay.
And then that's when I heard the gun go off.
Okay.
Anyway, I wasn't letting this guy go, but he was all beating me up. I had bruises and scratches and scrapes and everything, and...
Whoever this Kevin guy is, it's not him you're holding on to.
No.
And it's clearly not Randy Cook, not because you know him, but because he's getting shot, right? I mean, let's just be frank, right?
Right.
So it's not him, and it's not the guy that initially has the problem.
Is there a word name Vic mean anything to you?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, if she was just sitting there waving a gun around, I'm not going to stand in a house like that. So I'm guessing that when I went in the house and saw the gun, somebody must have taken that gun from her immediately.
Hoskins winds up back in the master bedroom where he grabs a shotgun. Mr. Cook comes in and is in the doorway of the bedroom. He says that Mr. Cook stepped into the bedroom, knocked the shotgun aside, and punched him in the face. He fell back. What we know is that at that point, Mr. Hoskins pulled the trigger on the shotgun, and it went right through Randy Cook standing there in the doorway of the bedroom. This is the corner of the bedroom here. The door's over here. That's the corner, and that's where the casing for the shotgun was found. And this shows stringing the trajectory of the slug as it went into the door of the bedroom. So I mean, there's really absolutely no doubt that Randy Cook was standing in that doorway of the bedroom when the shot was fired.
Vic and I and Randy, we should have never been there. We should have never been where we were.
I said, if it comes out that Randy kicked the guy's door in and was beating the shit out of him and he got shot, that's on him. You gotta let it go. He says 100%, absolutely. And he agrees. And if that happened, that, in my view, that's what makes my daily loss for. If somebody breaks in your house or comes into your house to beat you up or harm you, you shoot him. It's what it is. Like I said, if Randy would have jumped in there and started beating the guy up, gets shot, that's on him. I mean, we're still going to grieve, but we're not going to have this. That guy deserves, he's getting away with murder.
So why do you go in the house? You tell me initially that you know you're not going to go in the house. You know you're going to fight with him. You don't mind fighting with him out here, right?
Right.
You guys got something to settle.
Sure.
And you come here to settle this with him.
Well, but it was never supposed to go to weapons or...
Forget this part.
Yeah.
But let's not deal with this part. I'm dealing with this part. You go to this house because you want to settle whatever it is, the argument you are having with Joe because he's talking smack on Facebook.
Because we need to resolve.
Right.
Yeah. But we were never...
Okay, we just start fighting right here?
Yeah, but he came up to me and started swinging on me without even saying a word.
Okay.
Without even saying one word.
Okay.
He started swinging on me.
Well, how did you think he was going to react when you show up at his house?
Well, hopefully
I mean, really?
Yeah.
You know the guy, right? And obviously he's...
Well, I don't know him that well. Yeah,
okay.
But yeah. So
if you see Randy go in here, you initially said, I know we're not going to go in the house. We can't do that.
Sure.
Why do you go in?
To get Randy out of there. I went in to get Randy out of there. I was not going inside his house to fight at all. I went in to get Randy out of there.
Okay. But you end up fighting here.
Well, as soon as I went in there, Joe grabbed a hold of me.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't grab Joe.
Okay.
I did not grab Joe in his house.
Okay.
And then And then Raquel comes out with a gun and points it at me, and I run out of there.
And all of this is because he's saying basically you're cheating on women or whatever on Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, it escalated to that, but it was never supposed to be where a gun was drawn on somebody. It was never, it was me trying to resolve things with him alone, and things, you know, escalated.
Mm-hmm. Can you understand how, sitting from my shoes, you say resolve things alone, there's 4 other people in the car at least, and at the very least, there's 3 men out here against 1. Take out the lady. Can you understand that position?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
To be quite frank with you, you know, I'm not convinced you don't have issues because y'all went in the house.
Okay.
And you're not allowed to do that. I mean, you know that. You said that.
Right.
And Randy has issues, but
Do you know if Randy's alive?
I don't believe he lived through this. Last I heard, they did not think he was going to make it. Serious mess, huh?
It was never. Supposed to go to a point where a gun was pulled. Just 2 guys settling a dispute. Not with weapons.
Well, sadly, it made it to that point, huh? Very, very, very sad.
Yeah. Yeah.